My name is Raymond. Good to
Hello,
see.
man.
Hello, guys. Good to see everybody here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad that I'm able to do this. Okay, it's an H&I presentation. I want to tell my brothers in Maury County, good to see you. I miss you. God bless you guys. My NA members, I love you guys. So I want to, right. So I came to NA. I came to NA because I could not find any way to use drugs successfully, right? So I was trying to find a way to use drugs successfully, wet or dry, white or brown, any drug. I'm from the streets of Brooklyn, so I'm running around crazy. I'm a slave to addiction. I broke my mother's heart. I embarrassed my family. I'm terrorizing my community. I'm twisted. I can't stop. I want to stop. In and out of jails. You got the Bronx, Spofford, then you got Rikers Island and Queens, and you go up the ranks, kind of like and I could not stop using. I could not stop. I want to stop using. I swore I'm going to stop using when I get out of, when I get out this time, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to go to school, whatever it is. How you strategize when you're in jail and okay, I'm going to get it right this time. I'm not going to smoke crack. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to drink or whatever, however, that's how it was for me. I'm Puerto Rican. And we got coquito, our own eggnog with a lot of alcohol in it. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm just going to drink coquito. I'm just going to drink Budweiser. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know about the disease of addiction. I didn't know that I got this allergic reaction. When I put something in me, it pops off and I go crazy. I can't stop. Everybody goes home. I don't go home. Everybody goes to work. I don't go to work. Everybody goes to school. I got to use until the police stop me. That's how it was. I could not stop using. And so that's my story. So you do it. What I did, whatever I do to get drugs, embarrass myself, shame myself. I was dirty. I was messed up. It got ugly. It wasn't pretty. And so I ended up in jail. Ended up, my mother used to come visit me in jail. Broke my heart. You know how. The worst thing about my using was the suffering that my mother went through. Right? When you're on the street, you get stabbed, you get shot at, you get your head cracked. Whatever happens, it's part of the game. It's part of the process. It's okay. You know what I mean? I didn't die. Going to jail, we used to call it going on vacation. I'm going on vacation. I'm gonna do push-ups, sit-ups, and dips. I'm gonna get my weight up. I was a slave to the drugs. I could not stop using. My mother said I sleep better when you're in jail. You know what I mean? I could sleep when you're in jail. At least I know where you're at. And so I got out and I couldn't believe that I was using again. Like, in NA, there's this thing called the YETS. Y-E-T. You're eligible to. Like, I never shot heroin. I never did an IV drug use. And they said, don't worry, you keep using, it's on the menu. You're eligible to. It's a YET for you. And so the yets suck, right? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But the agains, when you're back in jail again, when you're back in a crack house again, when you're selling your sneakers again, the agains they torment you. You know what I'm saying? And so I went back to jail again. I couldn't stop using, and I was in an institution, and H&I came up. I'm one of those guys that I am, indebted to hospitals and institutions. The people who take the time out of their life, they don't get paid for this. They go and they carry the message. Somebody came to the institution I was in, and they carried the message, and I didn't want to hear the message. I thought I was hopeless. In NA, there's a step working guide, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but there's a difference, they say, between resignation and surrender. And resignation is when you got a problem. Obviously, I can't stop going to jail. I can't stop, messing up. I know I got a problem, and I accept that I got a problem, and that's it. I'm an addict. I'm gonna die an addict. That some people, somebody is gonna be born, and they're gonna find a cure for cancer. I was born to die a dirty drug addict. You understand? That's what I thought. That was my problem. I tried religion. I tried psychiatry. I tried Santeria. I tried whatever was available to me. I tried. I wanted to stop using. You understand? Nothing worked. Nothing worked. And that's a whole long story. I went to church and they praying for everybody and they prayed for me and nothing happened. I left the church. I went and robbed people and got high. Right? Religion didn't work for me. I went to the Santero. They killed the chicken. They threw the blood over my head. They were doing all this crazy stuff. They took me a bath in the coconut water and these things, and I kept using. I went to a psychiatrist. They said, yo, you got your manic depression. Right now it's called bipolar. Your manic depression. You got multiple personality. All this stuff. Emotional. Here's some pills. I like pills. Give me pills. You know what I mean? I took the pills. I still had to. Nothing worked for me. So when nothing works for you, the disease tells you you're hopeless. There's no hope for you. You're gonna die a dirty drug addict. So this guy comes in, H&I. And he tells his story, like I'm telling my story, right? I'm a drug addict from Brooklyn, New York. Our stories, don't focus on the differences, focus on the similarities. I know what it is to be ashamed that I broke my mother's heart, that I stole the VCR. I know what it is to sell my clothes, to sell my coat for drugs, to be embarrassed, to be dirty, to have to march and use drugs when I don't want to march and use drugs. I know what it is to be driven by a powerful drive. I'm not welcome in my mother's home. I'm not welcome in nobody's home. I know what it is to be in darkness, alone, isolated, beat up, a slave to addiction. And so I finally heard the message this guy shares, that, he says, there's a way, right? Here's why, there's a way where you can get your dignity back. There's a way where you get your self-respect back. There's a way that you might even be able to get the love, the respect, and the trust of your family back. He's saying that there's a way. And he said, the way is called the NA way. There's a way that for the first time in history, a simple way has proven itself. It works all over the world, in Sweden, in Germany, in the UK, in California, the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Irish, the Italian, gay, straight, believe in God, don't believe in God, drink, smoke, pills, whatever that there's a way that's working in addicts' lives. That addicts all over the world are getting clean. Addicts staying clean for one day is a miracle. Addicts are staying clean. They're losing the obsession to use drugs. The obsession is leaving them. And they're finding a new way to live. That was, and that thing hit me, man. I said, yo, I'm tired. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to have to squat and pick up and cough naked for another man. I don't want to live. My mother's crying. My mother said, what did I do that God would punish me with a son like you? I wish if I knew that I would have gave birth to a monster like you, I would have had an abortion. My mother she would say things that worse than the bullets, worse than the knives, worse than the words that my mother, her pain and her suffering, it ravaged me. You know what I mean? And so I remember my mother telling me, she said, I was in the Bing, I was in isolation in jail. And she came to see me. I was all messed up. And she said, you made my life a living hell. This is what my mother said. You made my life a living hell. When people say, Negating, how's your son? I got to look at the ground because I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed of my son. She said, you made my life a living hell. You bleepity bleep bleep, right? She said, when I die, at least allow me to rest in peace, she said. I do not want you to attend my funeral. You're not welcome at my funeral, she told me. You know what I mean? So those things hurt. My sisters came and they said, when are you going to hurry up and die so that mommy could stop suffering? And so you guys understand, I can't stop using, I'm a terrible son. I'm a terrible brother. I love my mother. It's my Puerto Rican queen. I love my mother. But this addiction is more powerful than a son's love for his mother. You understand? This addiction, I have a daughter that I never saw. I was running and running. This addiction is more powerful than a father's love for his daughter. And this addiction is mad crazy. And so the guy said, all you got to do, check it out. When you leave this place, he said this, I'll never forget it. He said, I need you to run to a meeting. He said, I need you to run to a meeting like your life depends on it. Because for some of you in here, your life depends on it. And I knew he was talking to me. I knew that, yo, when I get out of here, he says, I used to have hair, don't get a haircut. Don't go eat a good plate of food. Don't get laid. Don't go. He says, run to a meeting as soon as you get out of here. Run to him, and he says, stay away from the people you use with. It doesn't matter if they're your cousins, if they're your brother, your sister. Stay away from people, places, and things. Don't go show them that you got muscles now. You're doing push-ups. Don't stay away. They will get you high before you can ever get them clean. You understand? Stay away from people, places, and things. Make meetings. Make a meeting a day every day. I'm in New York. So we used to have a place in Manhattan called St. Mark's. I used to make a meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock at noon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then come to my neighborhood to make the evening meal. I made 3-4 meetings every day. I was making me. I had no job. I couldn't get a job. I never went to high school. I was in jail. I didn't have education. I was unemployable. My job was to make meetings. Your job is to make meetings, make more meetings. They said get clean feet. Now they call it smart feet. Get clean feet, get smart feet, where your feet take you to the meetings. And I made mad meetings. I just made meetings. I didn't like nobody. I hate myself, so I can't like nobody. I made meetings. Somebody said, yo, you want to stay clean? There's a lot of recovery in the coffee pot. The coffee guy don't get high. The coffee guy don't get high. Make coffee. I started making coffee. I took a commitment. People started remembering. People said, hey, Raymond, how you doing? They remember my name, right? I got a street name. I haven't been called my name for a long time. People started remembering my name. I was making coffee, cleaning up the stuff. I started giving cigarettes to newcomers. People, yo, you want a cigarette? I started coming back to life. You understand? I started coming back to life. I was clean 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Getting my weight up. I got my 2-finger ring back from the pawn, from the drug deal I pawned it to. I started enjoying being clean. I remember in New York, we got really good pizza. And I remember they used to have the 2 pizza for a soda for like $2.25. The 2-slice special. I don't know what it was. And I remember I used to smell the pizza when I was using. And let's say I had $500. Whatever money I had no money for pizza. You understand? I had money for drugs. So as much as I was hungry, as much as the pizza smelled good, I had no money for pizza. If I robbed somebody, if I had any money, it was for drugs. So now I'm clean. Now I smell the pizza. I can go get a little $2.20. I get 2 pieces with the bottles. I'm able to eat pizza. I'm able to, I made meetings. I started going to conventions. I started, experiencing recovery. The people, the way they love me. It's hard to accept love when you come from the streets and what they want from me, what they're trying to do, why this guy wants me to go, why he's buying me a hamburger, why. The love of Narcotics Anonymous, brother. The way they embraced me. I was crazy. I was 18. I had mental illness. I was cursing. I was yelling. I was threatening. I would have mental episodes in the meetings. I'll kill everybody. I was new. I was crazy. I was bugged out. Newcomers gone wild. You understand? And so, but I kept coming back. I kept making meetings. I got myself a sponsor. That was a game changer, right? Because I didn't have a father. I don't have no brothers. When I had beef on the street, I couldn't go home to get any help. There was no backup. I had to handle business by myself. I got a knife. I got to go, So asking another man for help was very difficult. I don't want to ask nobody for help. I got myself a sponsor. I called my sponsor. I began to use my sponsor. I made coffee. I stood clean. I got my first year clean. My first year clean, my mother came to my anniversary. The woman that I had dragged through addiction. And she cried at my first year anniversary. She said, I want to thank all you NA members for giving me back my son. Right? She gave my son. I lost my son many years ago. Thank you, NA, for giving. My mother was crying at the meeting. It was incredible. I'll never forget that day. My mother, I was able to become a good son to my mother. I was able to make up, I'm Puerto Rican with Puerto Rican. I think I said that. There was a Puerto Rican, his name was Tito Puentes. He owned a restaurant in City Island. And I was able to take my mother, because I knew some NA members from the Bronx who knew about, NA members hooked me up. I was able to take my mother to meet Tito Puentes, this Puerto Rican percussionist, famous. I was able to take my mother to meet Tito Puentes. He said, "Oh, this is your son?" She goes, "Yeah." He says, "Yo, you got a good son." My mother said, "He smokes crack." She told Tito Puentes, "He smokes crack. He's a drug addict," right? I'm clean a year and a half, 2 years, but she got PTSD. My mother's traumatized by my addiction, right? She tells Tito Puentes, "He smokes crack." "Oh, yeah, I tell you, I used to be a drug addict. I'm clean. I make me." All right. I was able to go, the Mets. My mother's a Mets fan. I'm a Mets fan. I was able to take my mother because I know some NA members from Queens. I know NA members from Queens. And my mother, she loved the Mets. I was able to take my mother to the baseball. It was called Shea Stadium. Take my mother to Shea Stadium in the Mets dugout, she met professional baseball players because they're NA members. I'm being a good son now. And they're signing her jersey. And they say, "Oh, this is your son? You got a good son. He's a crackhead. He smokes crack. I'm clean 5, 6 years." My mother's telling the Mets players, "This cat, he's a drug addict. The Rastafarians trying to kill him. The Dominicans burnt down our house." My mother, she got PTSD. I'm clean 5 years. I took the story. I was able to be a good son. You understand the story? I took my mother to Yankee Stadium. They got the Yankees on the Bronx, the Mets in Queens, with it's called the Subway Series, right? It's like the city against the city. I was able to take my mother to the Yankee Stadium with great seats to the Mets against the Yankees. And she's dying of cancer at this time. My mother got cancer. I'm taking her chemo. I'm taking her radiation. I'm able to be there for my mother, right? The nurses say, "You got a good son." "No, he's a drug addict. This guy's I'm clean 15 years. He's a drug addict." Still telling everybody I'm a drug addict, right? Praise God. It's all good. And so, but I took my mother to Yankee Stadium. There's some drunk Italian construction workers. "The Yankees are number one. The Mets suck. The Yankees." My mother said, "No, the Yankees," with a J. My mother's Puerto Rican. "The Yankees, they suck. The Mets." I said, "Ma, chill out, ma. I don't want to go to jail. Relax." "No, Raymond. The Yankees, they suck. The Mets." I said, "Ma, I'm going to end up going. I'm going to have a fight. I'm going to go to jail. We're not going to get to the." No, the Mets. That memory, I'll never forget that day that my mother wanted to fight with the Italian construction workers. Right, it would have been a front news. This guy, Raymond R, clean, I got a title and other stuff, goes to jail in Yankee Stadium because my mother wanted to be a gangster, right? So anyway, I was able to be there for my mother, able to be a son. When she died, right? Obviously, things happen in life. You're clean, but things still happen. When my mother died, the one that she said, "Do not attend my funeral," the one she said, "I wish I had an abortion," the one she said, "I wish she was dead." I don't know if you heard when they put, I don't know if your mother, when they said they put the wrong son in the ground, right? That's painful when it's just. I was able to be there for my mother, hold her hand when she took her last breath. I was the one there for her. I was able to pay for her funeral. I was able to fly in my sisters who said, "When are you going to hurry up and die?" I was able to help them get clean, get their lives together. I was able to fly them in from Florida. We had a big NA. Listen, we had 500, 600 people at my mother's funeral. Again, my mother loved this place in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. It's called Lindsay Park. Right? No one had ever done this before. I had my mother's casket open in the baseball field in the park with 500, 600 people at her funeral. How did that happen? Because I knew NA members who knew some people, and I got the NA hookup, and I was able, NA is changed my life. I had this big funeral. The police said, "Who are you? Who are these people? Where are all these people?" So I don't want to tell them I'm a drug addict. I told them I'm a reggaeton star. I made believe I was a reggaeton star. Right? I can't even talk Spanish, but I said I'm a reggaeton star. So I can't even say the word right. Anyway, but I had all these people in the funeral, my mother's funeral, my sisters, my family came. It was incredible. I was able, at my darkest moment, NA was there. NA showed up. I was never alone, never again. NA blessed my life. I grieved, and it goes on and on and on, right? So I don't want to share the whole, but I was able to bury my mother, be there for my sisters. You know, I got my GED. You know, I didn't go to high school. I went to, you know, so I got my GED. I got myself some certifications. I became a professional. I started speaking at conventions all over the world in NA. I started speaking outside of NA. I started my own, in 2001, I started my own business. A guy that I was unemployable, all right? And I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but in New York, when you get a job, it's like 90 days probation, right? Or 6 months, but whatever. Like we don't know if we're going to keep you. So you work for 90 days and then we'll sit down and see if we're going to keep you or not. I could never last 30 days on a job. I was always, yo, you disrespectful. I'll smack your mouth. I think I'm in jail still. Everything is a disrespect. You know what I mean? So I keep getting fired. I keep having these issues. I have a problem with authority. I don't like nobody telling me nothing. You know, I don't care if you're the supervisor. I got issues. You know what I mean? So in 2001, I was able to quit my job, and I've been working for myself for over 22 years. I don't got a boss. My wife is my boss. I tell my wife, you know, the only one I got to ask is my wife. Yo, can I go speak in we're going to work convention in Washington. Can I go to London in April? I'm going to San Fernando Valley in January. I'm going to Portland, Oregon, and I'm going to Pakistan in February. The only person I got to ask my wife is my wife. I don't got to ask my job. NA allowed me to become a professional. I make money doing stuff that I love. I wrote a book, right? I was able to write a guy who I got a GD. I wrote a book. I was a #1 best-selling book. All this, it's crazy. I went from homeless. I bought a house in Florida, right? I live in Brooklyn. I got a spot here and I got a house in Florida. How did this dirty drug addict who couldn't buy pizza how does he own a home in Florida? How does he travel the world? How does he, NA? And I made 90 meetings in 90 days. I got myself a sponsor. I stayed away from people, places, and things. I listen, I take suggestions, right? You're going to do what you don't want to do here, or you're going to do what you don't want to do out there. I'd rather just take suggestions here. So it's been a long time, right? It hasn't been all wonderful. I wish I could tell you it's been wonderful. And my mother died. My sponsor died. I had a 19-year-old son a day before his 20th birthday, right? He died, a drug overdose. They got that fentanyl. That thing broke my heart. My baby boy died. When I went to identify the body and where he was at, NA was there before me. Right? I get the phone call, Ray, your son is dead. You got to come. I get to the spot where his body's at. Who's there before me? NA members, right? I'm with my other son. When I go to identify the body, one of my guys says, do you want to go down by yourself, or you want me to go down with you? I said, no, come with me. I went to identify my son's body. It was very painful. It sucked, right? I don't wish that upon nobody, but I was not alone again. I wasn't alone. NA showed up for me. Before I got there, NA was there. When I came home from identifying the body and then with the police, when I got to my house was full of NA members. I didn't want to be around nobody. I was hurting. I was in a bad way. My son just died. I can't believe NA never left me alone, never did. 2020, right before COVID, my 17-year-old son dies in a car accident. My second son dies in a car accident. I get the phone call, Ray, Joseph, he had a bad accident. He died on impact. Come. I get to the Long Island. I get to the place where the car accident was. Who got there before me? NA members. NA members. NA. I came to NA reluctantly. I didn't even want to be here. I used to judge people. I don't like that cornball. That guy's a sucker. Oh, that's a fruitcake. This is, I was very judgmental, very crazy. The NA changed my life. NA saved my life. NA gave me a life. I got my son's godfathers and godmothers are all NA members, right? This is my family. I got flowers from members of Narcotics Anonymous from London, from Africa, from Sweden. People were sending me flowers, reaching out to me. NA is an incredible, wonderful, fabulous. I can't say nothing bad about Narcotics Anonymous and the fellowship and the people who they love me back to life. And as a result of that, love me back to, I've been able to do that for others. I get to carry the message. I got sponsees. I get to love on newcomers. I just took somebody up for some coffee, and I get to call people, and I get to love on people. If I can stay, I've been clean now, right? I'm coming for a landing. I've been clean for over 32 years, right? I can't, over 30. I can't believe that. I couldn't stay clean for 32 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't stay clean for a week. It's crazy. I've been clean for over 32 years, 32 and a half years. I'm clean. I'm married over 25 years. I tell you, NA has been good to me. I got things. Things don't got me. I got grandkids. I just came from seeing, my son and my grandkids. I was, it's crazy. I told you, I'm going to Pakistan in February. I'm going to London in April. I'm going to Norway. I'm going to Sweden. I get to travel the world. NA took me off the block, right? Just not on Zoom. I'm going to get on a plane. I get to meet addicts all over the world and hug them. The World Convention. I can't wait for the World Convention in Washington, D.C. You understand? And so check it out. I want you to know, the guys who, especially in the institution, that addicts all over the world are getting clean, staying clean, and finding an incredible way of life. It's available. It's not just for special people. It's not for. I came out of jail. I came from homelessness. I came from mental illness. I come from broken. I made meetings and I made meetings and I made meetings, and little by little by little, I learned a little bit. I lived a little bit. I learned a little bit. I lived a little bit. I met some people that had what I wanted. I asked them, yo, how do you do that? They gave me some suggestions. I started taking suggestions. And little by little by little, the days turn into weeks. The weeks turn into months. The months have turned into years, decades of years. And so if you're listening to this, yo, please, when you come home, when you get out of the institution, run to a meeting. I came home, check it out. I came home December 24th, 1990. I came home. Christmas Eve, 1990, I came home. And I didn't know then the decision that I had to make was life-changing. But my family, the sniffing cocaine, drinking, coquito, all the stuff. My family was in my mother's house. And I had a choice to make. Do I go inside my house or do I go to the meeting? I didn't know how significant that choice was going to be. I just got out of an institution. I was, everything in me said, go inside, take a shower, go get dressed. But thank God I ran to that meeting that day, December 24th, 1990. I ran to that meeting. You understand? And that changed everything for me. I became, you guys heard the story, and on and on and on, right? So I get to help people. I get to travel. When I'm in New York, I drive my wife to work. I get up in the morning. I don't got to get up, but I get up early in the morning. I get myself together and I drive my wife to work every day when I'm in New York. I travel a lot. So when I'm home, I want to serve her, right? Yesterday night, Sunday was Sunday. My daughter, who's 23, I told you I had a daughter I never saw in addiction. Now I got a 23-year-old daughter. I was able to go on, check it out, all her school trips from first grade to eighth grade. Once she went to the ninth grade, I wasn't cool no more. But first grade to eighth grade, I went on all her to the libraries, to the museums, to the camps. I went on all her school trips. My daughter, I was able to be there for her, take her to school. I was able to, incredible relationship with my daughter. Now she's 23. I was able to pay her tuition to go to college. She did a 5-year program. She's my 23-year-old baby girl. She's a teacher now. My 30-year-old son, my oldest son, he helps addicts who are homeless on the street. My whole family is involved in helping addicts because I used to be an addict, right? My daughter, took my daughter to dinner yesterday with my wife, my daughter's boyfriend. I was able to go speak at somebody's anniversary and stand on it. I get to do a lot of things. So if you're listening to this, it's not just abstinence. It begins with abstinence, but there's a world of recovery where there's so much available to you. I didn't, you guys got Danny Hugs over there. You guys get to see that addicts are recovering. A lot of people come to speak at his H&I commitment from all different walks of life, different drugs, You can stop using drugs. You can lose the desire to use, which is crazy, right? The obsession to use, it can leave you, and you can find a new way of life. And I found that new way of life. And I'll say this, and I'm going to shut it down. As I got blessed in my life, right? As I bought, because this disease is cunning, baffling. It'll tell you don't make meetings no more. You don't need meetings. The disease wants to find out, how can I get you to stop doing what works, right? There might be some brothers there that you was clean before and you stopped making meetings. And how can I get you to stop making meetings? How can I get you to make meetings but don't do step work? How can I get you off track? I've been blessed that I got my sponsor. I still do step work. 32 years, I still do step work. I still got a home group. I still am visible and available at my local meetings. I was in a meeting this morning, putting out the chairs and stuff like that. I don't ever want to forget where I come from. All right. As I got the house, as I got married, as I got this, as I got that, as I started, I don't forget, meeting makers make it. Those who make meetings regularly stay clean. All right. And so if you're hearing this message, please, I hope to see you at the World Convention. I hope to see you at some meetings. I hope to see you, at some point if you see me or there's a World Convention or Tennessee Convention or wherever, and say, yo, Raymond, I was in that institution. I heard you share. Give me a hug. It'll mean a lot to me. All right. Any speaker that you hear out here, if you're institution, it'll mean a lot. If you see them, say, yo, you spoke when I was in, give them a hug. It doesn't mean that you're making meetings. All right. So that's basically it. NA works. We do recover. Thank you to the trusted servants. Thank you for those who are here. Please let us love you. I know it sounds corny, especially let us love you until you can learn how to love yourself. I promise you, if you come to meetings, you're going to find addicts who are going to help you, love you, reach out to you, be there for you like they were there for me. Thank you for letting me share. God bless you guys.
Thank you.